Now it's time for John Clarke and Dawe on Kevin Rudd's efforts to win friends and influence people.
Mr. Rudd, thanks for coming in.
Good evening, Brian. Very good to be with you.
How are things going?
Oh, not bad, thank you. Yes, a bit busy.
Can you give us an assessment of this election campaign and how it's going?
Yes, in broad terms, Brian, there are three major issues. They are the environment, national security and the economy.
And how do the sides measure up?
Well, the government doesn't understand the first one.
The environment?
No, they can't even spell it, Brian. So
you've gone better there?
Oh, yeah, they're pretty hopeless there, Brian. We're
national security, of course?
Well, national security is where they went pretty well last time. They
children overboard.
Pulled a bit of a trick, yes.
Yeah.
And
which won a fiction award, I think, didn't it?
It was shortlisted for the Booker, Brian, but it didn't win.
Well, it did win here. They'd go well on the economy, though, wouldn't they?
Normally they would, Brian, but they've introduced these appalling workplace relations laws and they're taking a bit of water there.
And haven't we got the biggest debt in the country's history?
Oh, yeah, Brian, I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, isn't that a concern? I mean, we're in the middle of the biggest commodities boom in 40 years, and our debt is, goes from here to the Antarctic.
Look, I wouldn't worry about that, Brian.
You wouldn't worry about it?
Brian, please don't upset the market. Very important that we don't upset the market here.
And so you went up to New York recently, didn't you?
I did earlier in the year. I went to New York, yes.
You like to travel, don't you?
I love travel, yes.
Yeah, it broadens the mind, of course, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, but I enjoy it anyway.
Now, you had a meeting with Mr. Murdoch.
Yeah, that was a highlight.
Went well?
Oh, yes, what a marvellous fellow. I had a very good conversation with him.
Good. What did you discuss?
Very general discussion, Brian, it has to be said, very general.
Yeah, but what did you actually say to Mr. Murdoch?
I said, look, if things go the way they look to be going at the moment, there's every possibility that the Labor Party might actually win the next election and I could be the Prime Minister. Right. And did you get the job? He's going to let me know, Brian. He's a very nice man and I'm sure he'll let me know as soon as he finds out.
So there are other applicants?
No, his other phone was ringing. He's a very busy man.
Well, he'd have a bit on, wouldn't he, Mr.
Yes,
Murdoch?
that's right.
Yes, of course.
He told me what he was doing. He's trying to buy the universe.
But, Mr. Rudd, it would be silly if everyone voted in Australia for you and then you weren't allowed to do the job.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the best way to run a country, would it?
No. Has that ever happened before?
Only ever in the past, Brian.
But, I mean, if the Australian people vote for you, that should be it, shouldn't it?
Now, we know what the Australian people think, Brian. We're waiting to hear what the people who run the Australian think.
I see.
Yeah.
And will you let us know?
Yes, I will. Have you got Foxtel?
No, this is the
Somebody got Foxtel?
This is the ABC.
You'll get me a remote. I'll find Foxtel. It's pretty easy to find. Can you get me a remote, please?
Mr. Rudd, what's Foxtel got to do with the way I'm going to vote?
Just get me a remote. I'll do it myself.
Mr. Rudd, can you answer the question?
I'll answer the question, Brian. As soon as you get me Foxtel, I'll flick it on, I'll find the answer, I'll tell you. Get me Foxtel, will you?
Thanks for joining us.